Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well and staying safe.
Hi, today we have Clea Iveson joining us for a quick interview, and she's going to tell us more about the program, the mentorship program, and this creation process, and a little bit more about herself. Hi, Clea, how are you?
Hi, Adrian. Hi, Avina. I'm great. Thanks.
Good. How have you been coping with everything?
Oh, it's a roller coaster. I'm up and down and around and then upside down and then sometimes, the bottom drops out. But you know what? I come out and get off the ride briefly and it's all good.
That's
Good.
amazing. That's good to hear that you're doing well.
Thanks.
So we're here because we would like to know a little bit more about the mentorship program, and maybe you can give us more like insight about it. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself first and how you got involved with Canas Valley Jörgen and George Brown College?
Sure. Yeah, basically I grew up in Toronto, and George Brown and Valley Organ operated out of Toronto, and my training took place at George Brown, and there was a natural fit with going from one to the other, and I had to find my way forward in dance, and my path took me to Canada's Valley Organ. I then danced with them for 20 years as a professional ballerina. But throughout that time, even then when I was dancing, I had to keep busy, and I was always doing lots of extra things, and particularly involving any time we had youth involved with the company or with our programs. And then, as I headed towards retiring from the stage, it was just a natural flow to end up in a more full-time role when it comes to mentoring youth and helping them along. And
Mm.
I certainly remember that time of finishing school and, what the heck do I do next? And really, my teacher, Debbie Wilson, kind of suggested I do a mentorship really with Ballet Organ. It didn't even exist as a program. She just said, this is what I think you should do. And she said, oh, I've already talked to Bennington. He's just going to, do what I tell him. So I got myself a spot as kind of like the first time mentorship with Ballet Organ. And, it really just took me where I had to go,
Nice.
and where I ended up. So I really, treasure that time, and I love the idea that I'm now able to work and structure that sort of thing for young people now.
Wow, that's very
Wow,
interesting. I
that's
didn't
amazing.
know that you were the first mentorship.
That's crazy. Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. So
Yeah, I mean, all these years working, together, and this is the first time I know about this. So one more thing, like it's amazing.
we're learning new things during this COVID time,
Yeah,
all sorts of them.
yeah.
Absolutely. So, speaking of mentorships, I talked to Kendra and Chloe, and they were explaining a little bit about the mentorship program. I was actually curious what goes into the process of searching for the mentorship students each year.
It's a very individualized process. So, as a graduate of the George Brown Dance post secondary program, you were eligible to apply. So you apply with a proposal that really is about that dancer thinking about what it is they want to get out of time spent, in the studio with the company, and what it is that they want to find in order to contribute to their path forward. The most important thing in that proposal is that that dance student has to really find what they want. As opposed to it being about what teachers think you should be doing, it really has to be about what you think you should be doing, and therefore what you want to do. So it's a discussion back and forth, usually with me to start, and then eventually it's a bit of an interview with artistic director Jörgen, where he has a real opportunity to ask them and put them on the spot, the candidate, when it comes to, why do you want to do this? Why is this important? And how is it going to change from where you are now to later, upon finishing the program? And the dance, student, going on professional really needs to be able to articulate that, because it's an independent study program. You are offered all sorts of resources like company class and company rehearsals and company artists and company structure. But the only way you get anything out of that is because you have a plan of what you're going to get out of it. And that plan has to be in place. And then, of course, we help keep them on track. But it's really up to that dancer. And it's really meant to emulate the way it is in life. I mean, it's up to you. We all know now that we're on the other side of being in the professional world that you have to figure out what you want and you have to go after it. And nobody is going to hand it to you. Yeah. Nobody's going to tell you what it is that you want. You have to figure it out and you have to go for it. So that year that those students spend with us is to really give them the opportunity to do that, but still have resources, still have structure, still have a bit of family around them to support them. And that's really a big part of what the mentorship program is finding that voice and finding your direction. And in some cases, it's pursuing potentially a position with Canada's Ballet Organ, but that's not what it's about. It's about being ready to pursue your life in dance. And, creating with choreographers is a big part of that. You have to find your voice with the choreographer, because that's the voice you're taking out into the professional dance world. So that's where these, Kendra and Chloe are at in their program, is they're really being pushed to find a direction for their voice. And they're working with Dominic to do it.
That's great. It's very, all what you said is very important, because it's in that way, in that sense, it's a career, a very individual career, right? And this is a good way for them to explore that.
Great. And hey, can I turn around and ask you guys, what your, sort of first mentorship type experience was that kind of led you to where you are today?
Boy. Who wants to go first?
You go first.
Me? Well, for me, it was because I was in a company in the United States before coming to Canada's Ballet Organ, and I heard about you guys from a really, really close friend of mine, and she was just basically explaining how, because she took the audition, the open audition, and she actually got to talk to Banks after the audition as well, and he was just like, my friend was very, very amazed by him. She was like, oh my gosh, you're going to absolutely love him. You should send her stuff and you should audition. And for me, because I was only an apprentice at my previous company, I really wanted to just step up and be actually part of the company so that I can do more dancing in general, and really get to talk to the director about the choreography and everything. So I just sent my stuff, and then I just got into Canada's Ballet Organ, and then here I am, and I really love it here. So I'm really glad I sent my stuff in, and I've learned so much this past year, which is crazy because I didn't expect myself to learn so much in 1 year. But I really, really enjoy being here.
So it sounds like your year at your previous company was, sort of that mentorship year that allowed you to figure out more of what you wanted, and then you had to seek that out, and you found it here with us. So I mean, that's great, but it takes that time, right, to find the parts of your passion in dance and where that's going to fit.
Yeah, definitely. From my experience was kind of like also like different. That's why I also like I value now that I like work close to these mentorship dancers, because this is the way I got into dance. I also got like I got an apprenticeship in my previous in the company where I used to dance in Mexico, and but as an apprentice, you not always have the opportunity of step in, the same way as you have as a mentorship, because that's your job in the company, to be there, to be present all the time. As I believe that's a big difference. As an apprentice, you kind of have to wait for someone kind of to tell you, like what to do, what to learn, because you don't want to step on someone else's like spot, not because you wanna do them wrong or anything, but there's always that kind of like in like silent rule, in this world of dance. you know so most of the times you have to like ask for permission, right? Whereas like as a mentorship student, like like everybody knows that they're there to learn, from you. They come to you and they ask you, for questions like how to do this. For the girls, that are like inexperienced in partnering, like they have all the guys, to ask them to teach them how to like place themselves properly to do certain steps, Same for the guys. I mean, so it's a great learning experience for them. It was definitely very different from like mine, So yeah, it's great that these programs exist. It's the first time actually that I've heard of like such a like program like this.
Yeah, it's an important difference, I think you point out, Adrian, between being an apprentice and being a mentorship student. The pressures of being an apprentice and following the rules, like you say, but still being able to, grow and deliver at the same time. It's a big task, and it can be really hard on somebody entering the field. So that the mentorship takes some of that pressure off, but stimulates in a very similar way. So.
Yeah, and I have the feeling that they feel safer in a safer space, and they've always been like coached, by someone, and they've been looked, for. So it's great. That's all I can say.
Well, great. Thanks for sharing, you two.
Clea, what are your initial thoughts on this creation, and why is this an important learning experience of becoming a professional dancer?
Great question. It's a natural part of their program, because one part of being a dancer is learning repertoire and fitting into a group in a way that you're trying to replicate either steps that have been done in the past, or fit into a group work where we're all trying to achieve similar goals. And that's a real challenge and a real skill that dancers need to really be able to develop. But the other side is also around that ability to be creative, to have a voice, and to be unique. So that goes directly towards the aspect of creating with a choreographer. The choreographer is not really going to tell you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
the choreographer is going to ask you to contribute, and they're going to build a work based on what you can contribute. So you become really a key person in the evolution and meaning and just existence of a work. And I think that responsibility has to be taken seriously and has to be embraced and not something that you shy away from, because choreographers are stimulated by the dancers they work with. And if you're not a dancer that stimulates someone, it doesn't have to be everyone, in terms of building a relationship and understanding that that's such an important part of your role, then it's hard to grow and be successful in the industry. So that's what I look for in that portion of the program. Now, I literally put Dominic and Kendra and Chloe together, like just days before the closure happened due to COVID, and I just was sort of dumbfounded, standing on the spot, thinking, now what am I going to do? This is really important, and I don't want to leave these dancers hanging without that experience. And so I just reached out to Dominic. I said, hey, can we still make this happen for these dancers? And he didn't even hesitate. He said, absolutely, yes, we can figure this out. And that's the creative spirit of who we are as artists. And so I was so pleased that, it was Dominic we were working with, and that he was so willing to do this. And, I went to the girls too and said, hey, can you see your way forward in a totally different way? And both of them were the same. They said, absolutely, yes, let's do it. So I'm hoping that we achieve the same growth goals when it comes to their experience and how it's going to enrich their artistic voices, but doing it in a totally different way. It really, I think they get a special experience because they're thrown a hardship, thrown a twist, and they're able to embrace it. So if this happens again, we all come across hardships in this industry, then they're building that resilience to figure a way to make it happen.
Yeah, I know. It's true. But also it's coming back to what we've talked, like that just comes from experience, to embrace that, to kind of like let yourself be, in front of a choreographer without the fear of being judged. And most of the times it's just like you judge yourself, you're being judged by yourself, your worst critic. But
Yes.
Again, like someone that comes fresh from school, has to learn how to overcome those barriers that come with experience, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what are you looking forward to the most from this creation process? I know it's like mostly done, the choreography is mostly done, but what are you looking forward to the most?
Well, I have actually resisted watching videos of the choreography because I'm actually really excited to see it. And I haven't really decided if I want to see the final product or I want to see this process. So I'm still debating because I'm really interested in the uniqueness of the preliminary work and how it affects the work at the other end. Because we are planning to still get back in the studio, so there will be an element of normal, I guess, in this work. But how does this element of abnormal, I guess, contribute? So I'm actually really looking forward to the moment, and I'm planning to be there when all three of them just step into the studio together and actually share space. And it's like, now what do we do? And I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens in that moment. We don't know when it's going to be, but I have faith that we'll make it happen. And I just want to see where Dominic starts, where Kendra starts, where Chloe starts, and how normally you start with the discussion, and you have all of that sharing in the studio in person in terms of creating a piece, but they've done all of that. So how's it going to start when they actually see each other in person? So I'm looking forward to that moment.
Yeah, I am too. It's going to be really exciting to see them all in the studio and actually getting to work together because I know that Kendra and Chloe have never worked with Dominic before, and the first time is on through a camera screen. So I'm excited to actually see them like in the studio working together for like basically the first time in person.
All that we've talked so far, it's been great. But we're talking, in the present, the past of the program, how unique it is. Are you developing the program any further? And if so, is the program planning what's the future? What's the evolution of the program itself?
Yeah, it's a really fantastic question. I mean, we're all artists involved, and we're always looking for new ways to grow, new ways and new opportunities to provide to people. So we recently put choreographer in residence position within the company. We're working with Hanna Kiel, who's also been on our faculty and created for the company prior to this. And Hanna is full of passion for mentoring. And so we're developing a program that's going to launch this coming year that comes right out of what Hanna wants to provide for students in terms of she sees a gap for the mentoring of artists who are really looking to develop their voice as choreographers. And I mean, anyone who's choreographing is always dancing as well. So it's going to be a mixture of taking that artist through working to develop their choreography, their style, their techniques around creating as the person in the front of the room, at the same time as giving them, full-on experience as a dancer as well. So we're calling it the Contemporary Dance Mentorship Program with Hanna Kiel. And we're hoping to provide opportunities in very much the same way, where students have to really talk about what they want to do and what the direction is. And then Hanna and our associate director of the school, Derek Sangster, will work with the community to pair them up with a mentor. So not necessarily a mentor that is, working in-house with us, but a mentor out there in the Toronto dance community. And who do you want to work with? And we're setting up a number of hours that you have one-on-one time with a mentor, somebody who can help guide you and take you in a direction that you want to go. And at the same time, partnering with an organization as well. So it might have one particular mentor, but if you're going to work with another dance company or dance group that operates in Toronto, the chance to be in the studio, just like with the ballet company, but with a contemporary dance company. So that's the angle that we're heading towards, and we are talking to the candidates right now for the startup and who they might want to work with and what they hope to get out of it in order to set up a real plan to get those dancers, those students connected in their physical side, with the person, with the studio, with the other artists. But also just mentally with a mentor who will just really be their go-to person. And that kind of support is so important to have someone you can trust, someone you can lean on, and someone who can be honest with you without necessarily taking the wind out of your sails at times when maybe you need a push or a reminder, or some encouragement to get you past a brick wall that may feel like it's right in front of you.
Wow, that's a bright future. Well, thank you so much, Clea, for being here today with us and sharing your thoughts on this project and explain why it is so important to have this kind of programs for young, unexperienced dancers.
And it's also thank you to our audience for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us on all the social media, and also don't forget about our online classes on Instagram. If you guys also have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to message us anytime. In the meantime, stay safe, and we'll see you guys next time.